carry the same values that I have.
You're a Carolina guy, the other Carolina. I'm from South Carolina, and I was there shortly after the church shooting in Charleston, and it stayed with me. And it's clearly something that moved you as well. Why was Emmanuel a story that you felt so passionate about being told?
Obviously, in terms of how tragic the event was, and then the climate that we're in right now socially in terms of gun violence and things like that, that's an ongoing conversation that needs to continue in terms of making tangible change to protect our future as a society. But when I heard about the specifics of the story and how the families of the victims of the Emmanuel Church chose forgiveness over hate and anger, that was something that everybody needs to hear. If they can find a positive in a situation like that and choose love over hate, like that story in itself carries so much weight. And obviously, I'm humbled to be a part of telling that story and sharing that with the world. But it's more so, highlighting how powerful those families were in choosing to forgive the person that decided to take their family members away from them. I don't know if I would have the strength to do the exact same thing in that situation, but I wanted people to hear their point of view on why they decided to.
This NBA Finals from 2 finals ago when you won a championship?
It's definitely different. There's a lot more pulling at you, a lot more you have to deal with, a lot more decisions you got to make on a daily basis. And the challenge to keep the priority is a daily decision that you got to make. And I'm not complaining about it at all.
It's a sentiment he's now learned to share with a famous 44.
Huge name drop right here, but I was talking to our former president, Barack Obama, when I was playing golf. That's big time, right?
That's a good name drop. If you're going to drop one, drop that one, hell.
And he was talking about like the challenges of before he was in office, and he said he didn't value his anonymity as he was going through life. He can't just go walk down the street and be in his own world and just unplug, if you will, from all the commotion, the attention, the people grabbing at you. People follow us daily, and it's obviously about our fans, but on a daily basis, that's the hardest thing, just to be able to just go to maybe go to the grocery store and pick up some stuff and not run into anybody, have to talk about basketball or something like that. Can't do it. And it just comes with the territory to a certain extent, but that's the struggle that's so different from when I started playing basketball that you kind of got used to.
But Curry's never been far from the spotlight. He's the son of former NBA player Dell Curry. Here he is on the bench with his dad when he was a kid.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
How'd you get to be so big?
The two even appeared together in a commercial for Burger King.
Dad, can we go to Burger King? I am really hungry.
But it's his upbringing and his style of play marked by finesse that has led many to call Curry soft.
I mean, I've heard that talk for sure, and I had a different upbringing than a lot of players in the NBA. I've had similar upbringings to some people in the NBA, so I'm not by myself in this situation. But I don't know what's in people's minds, how they label me, how they perceive me. I know what I'm about. I know how I view myself in life and my style of play on the basketball court. And so whether you think I'm soft, or you think I'm tough, or you think look like I'm 16 or whatever,
you purposefully
doesn't bother me.
did not do the dishes the night before your first middle school game?
That was not fun. Imagine going back to your middle school basketball team in the locker room and saying, hey fellas, I'm not gonna be playing today because I didn't do my chores last night. I didn't do the dishes, so good luck to you guys. I'll see you next game. That's basically what I had to say. I missed my first middle school game for not taking care of my business. So that was kind of how the Curry household was run. If you don't take care of your business at home, which you're supposed to, basketball is a privilege and it can be taken away. So,
tell about the high school curfew that you had.
It was basically whatever grade you were in was the time that you had to be in your room ready to go to sleep. So for my freshman year, it was 9 o'clock. Going up, I got a little bit of freedom every single year if I acted right. So yeah, there wasn't too much that I tried to get away with really, but they were pretty strict with it. So you knew what the deal was, and don't try to skip around.
Is it true that that if you wanted to hang out with a girl, your parents wouldn't let you hang out with her unless they first met her parents?
Old school, baby.
How does that go over?
Old school. That was, I mean, that was, I knew that was a situation, so I had to pick the right girl, and I obviously know the whole backstory before I initiated that whole process.
Right, how does the conversation go over with the girl? You say, by the way, before I can ask
exactly.
you out.
Before we go to the movies, I need your parents to come over to the house and just sit down with my parents, just have a talk. We're very welcoming, warm family. They just want to get to know you. That's all. So we skipped a lot of the the middle ground before we got to meet
now
your
wife.
parents.
When you guys were 14, 15 years old in a church group, you end up starting to date when you're in college, get married when you're 23 years old. Why get married so young?
Why waste time if you found the right one, right? That was I knew, having met my wife in high school, kind of her story and just, and her family and what she was about, very faith-oriented woman, and she was so driven. We didn't date, like you said, through high school, and got to college and we met again. I like to say we've always met again out in LA when I was for the ESPYs after the tournament run, because she was living out there pursuing her acting career, and that was kind of just fate right there. Two kids from Charlotte meeting again in LA on a whim, and then kind of keeping it going, and dated for 2-3 years when I got to Golden State, and knew I found the right one, so didn't want to waste any time and start a family and get married and
the proposal was great. It's something I pat myself on the shoulder. I tried to bring a memorable moment in our early days as a couple. Brought her back to the spot where we had our first kiss.
It was raining like a scene out of The Notebook. NBA great Steph Curry, a true romantic, proposing to his high school sweetheart Ayesha. Married for 5 years, they have 2 beautiful daughters, Ryan and Riley. Now, Steph has been surrounded by beauty all of his life. Just take a look at his mom.
Holy cow, I saw your mom on Instagram. She had to be the hot mom. Your friends had to want to come to your house growing up. They were all there, all your buddies. Did you know you had a hot mom growing up?
Well, she looks just like, I guess where I got my looks from, right? But yeah, I knew my pops lucked out. And they said he outkicked his coverage. But whenever my friends come over, whatever, growing up, they know not to talk about my mom.
She called you E.T. She said as a baby. Is it your fingers?
Well, I'm letting you all the secrets. She said I had a question mark head, so if I turned to the side, I had this big old dome in the back, and it reminded her.
The father, I got 2 daughters as well. Like, how we treat their moms is the biggest example of what they should expect when they get to that level, looking for somebody to share life with.
Yeah.
You wake up every day like, all right, that's my job.
100%.
That's my job. I get to do that. I don't have to. I get to.
Right. In my case, it brought a better version of me out. Just because I never want to be a hypocrite with my kids and be somebody that preaches it but don't live it. When I realized I was going to be a father, my life wasn't secure at that point.
Right.
But in hindsight, that's probably the best thing I did was have kids, for real. And seeing their father live a passion as a way of life, I think that has a crazy impact on them in a positive way. Like, when we tell them you can do whatever you want to do, and you can live whatever your dream is, they like, yeah, of course, you're doing it.
I'm trying to instill that confidence right now with potty training. Like, you can do anything you put your mind to, baby.
That's a tough one. You know what I'm saying? That's a tough one for sure.